Alright gang, so I've already had some success with the window regulator. It's a beautiful day, it's only 1 o'clock. Rather than taking that victory and relaxing, let's leave it on the table and let it ride and try to fix something else. That's going to be a mistake. I can feel it, I know it. Seems so simple. 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3. I've already tested this guy, it's pretty jammed up. I'm not really sure if this ate itself or if the linkage is jammed, but I figure I'll try to get this guy out, give a little twisty twist on the linkage, and then we'll see if the linkage killed the motor or the motor is just dead. I got a new one off eBay, new to me one, out of a junkyard, which I had to take apart and lubricatify the worm gear and give it the old, I don't know, re-greasing. It works okay. It'll get me by. With all these old cars, I mostly count on Rain-X, but when it really starts coming down, it's super helpful to have windshield wipers. 3 bolts should be super easy. The one I'm concerned about, let's see if I can get you guys down in the concerning, scary place. Let's see, this guy way down in there. Yeah. It's no fun. Gotta pop that linkage off and then not drop the nut and get it back together. I don't know if that was all blurry or not. Alright, let's give it hell. How long can 4 bolts take? Yep, I said it. Here goes nothing. Alright, go ahead and pop this off. There's 2 bolts coming up from the linkage that look like studs with nuts on the top that connect and squish down on this ball thing. I feel like popping this off is going to be the easiest. I guess I can always reverse course. You can see that the way that I'm turning this with the wrench and it's not spinning. You can take a look in here in a second. But this is the motor is a worm gear. Whoa! It's taking some wiggling, but just a keyed slot like that. So my concern is getting this to line up with the one that's in there, because I'm not really sure how well the park circuit's working on this, or where the wipers are in there. I don't know. They've never worked. The wipers appeared parked when I got the car. They've been removed since by the guys that put the windshield in. So, assuming they haven't moved. But I feel like I'd like to, I don't know. Maybe I'll mark them before I try the windshield wiperification. In fact, maybe I'll mark them right now. Put a little mark on the actual, they got a word for that, transmissions that are in there. So at least I know what maybe straight up is currently. So when I jack it all up by removing this, then I'll at least have a reference point. Look at that thinking. All right, I gotta go find a marker. And we're back, big day. I went to go look for a marker. It was in my pocket. So, there are more little teeth on those things than a great white, so like you can clock the wiper arms on these like crazy. Oh, an experiment. I got more modern wiper arms because later. Can almost count on the magnet on a stick being my best friend when I drop this down into the cowl, but hopefully that won't happen. Here goes. situations where you can either get your eyeballs on it or your hand, and I wish we could deal with both. Let's get a closer look at this excitement. So I got the nut off on the inside land. I'm definitely not doing this the way GM wanted. There's a hole here that lets you take the arm off the linkage. And what I did was took the arm off the motor. Hoping that will prove wise in the long run. Anyway. It's interesting. It's a worm gear that drives this guy, that drives the arm, and I guess the park circuit is a contact point thing, and there's a little raised part here that I guess makes a cam, essentially. Good gravy. I feel like there's a metric here at work too, that you take a job and you say, okay, let's take about 15 minutes, and then for every year old the vehicle is, you can go ahead and add, oh, I don't know, a minute for the year. So if this was going to be a 20 or 30 minute job, it's a 75, so add another 45 minutes, and then you can probably metric that out and say, well, how many other owners have been involved? And probably add 30 minutes per owner. So you got to figure out what they've done in the past. Especially if it's a truck, because lots of Bubbas. Alright, so I'm at the same spot, just trying to get this arm off. I need a wagon stick. Little persuader. All right. Well, so my starting point is going to be to put the new motor in there, get it bolted in, and then try to get lucky and spin the motor over with a switch until it lines up with that, and hopefully that'll be 0 or the starting point or whatever you want to call it. And if it's not, then I guess we'll just keep working on it. Like I said, I don't really know if the park circuit works on this one, because typically you just stick it I think it'd be smart. Oh, no! This is not only a handy dandy light, but it also has a magnet. So drop that nut. Oh, it's sitting on the frame rail. Stroke of luck. All right, I'm gonna try to get this nut just on a thread so that this thing is not necessarily locked on the cam. You know what, gang? For any of you guys doing this after me, it's quite clear that you could remove this nut after the fact. Meaning you could pop the motor out, gain access to this nut, and not do all the struggling that I just did. As with anything with more than one bolt, try to get them all started before you get to wrenching them down. Because this is not a rocket ship. There is always enough slop. And if you tighten the first one or two down, you have a real hard time getting the third one in. I feel like I need some dielectric grease. All right, got it in the hole. Connection's connected. The bolt on that's really loose. Second guessing my methods here, but I'm gonna try to turn it on, see how it does, and then see if it parks. And if it parks, then I'll line up this thing. If it doesn't, I don't know what I'll do. Well, that's not what I want. But the motor is spinning. Sounds like it fixed itself. That's good too. See if it parks. Well, it turned off. I'm going to turn it on and then turn it off again and see if it lands at the same spot. maybe. No, definitely not. Well, maybe we'll troubleshoot the park circuit a little bit later, but for now, let's get her hooked up and see what's what. So I've gone ahead and followed my own lesson here. I popped these 3 bolts back out so that I can tighten the nut on the linkage, and I'll tell you what, it seems to be a lot easier this way. So don't say I never taught you something, unless you already knew this and you were watching me do it and struggle and been like, you big dummy. You don't have to work that hard. I'm kind of proud of myself. I'm the type of guy that usually makes the same mistake 2 or 3 times. If anybody knows where to get a new motor, please let a guy know. I feel like this old girl's kind of short for this world. I feel like I gotta do some pretty good testing. I also had to buy more modern wiper arms because the ones that were on here are great, but I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the wiper blades don't really fit on the old wiper arms that just have the regular stick and you sleeve them over the top. I think there's something slightly different now that everything is metric, because I have lost more of those wiper blades moving down the highway than I dare to count. So as ugly as the 80s ones are, at least they've got a J-hook and they do the trick. I mean, try to do form and function when I can, but if it really comes down to it between the two, we're picking function. I'm also super precious about the windshield because I finally just got it done, and it took me forever to find somebody that could do it, which sounds strange because it's the same windshield from, I think, 73 to 80 on C10s and K5s and Suburbans, but anyway, my glass guy couldn't get one, so it's done now. And what I don't want is the old windshield wiper flying off, and when it goes, putting a big, huge scratch in it, because windshields are expensive. And I don't think people appreciate how nice it is to have one that is not scratched and screwed up, because when you're driving at night, especially in the rain, boy howdy, can the headlights just blind you, because it just like turns into like a big blurry star field. So anyway, it's connected. I'll flip it on, see if the thingies go. know if you can see, but they're doing the thing. Looks like it's working okay. That's cool. All right, let's talk wiper blades. So the original Tricos are really pretty. They're chrome, they've held up for gajillions of years. That sort of hockey stick looking guy is how they connect to this guy. Slides in, spring, all of that's super great. They even sell replacements for this rubber, so if you're restoring or whatever, it's really not that hard to do. The problem is they don't really work that well, so I want something that can handle really driving rain at this point at 70 miles an hour. And the issue that I found is the newer blades are all pretty much universal, and they don't, even if you can get them to kind of slide in there and clip like they're supposed to, they don't fit these things very well. So I went ahead and bought these significantly uglier 80s wiper arms. Looks like the transmission mounting holes are about the same, because I feel like once they clip in, they've got a fighting chance of actually staying on. While these look a million times better, I've found if you put the newer style blades on them, it's only a matter of time before they wipe like this, and then they wiggle, and then they flip over, and then they go flying off, and then the arm scratches your windshield. And that windshield's brand new, and I prefer the windshield wipers to stay on the car at speed. So we're gonna see if this style fits on here. If anybody's got a better solution on how to make a more better blade work on these old style Tricos, because they're super neat. I don't know. If you've got a this style GM car, this is what you're dealing with, and nobody makes one that fits on this thing. And you know, the rubber replacements, I actually put them on a Cadillac at some point, and they're working okay. But the car's a convertible, so I don't really drive it in the rain very much, and you know, Rain-X kind of does the trick when I get caught. But this I plan on driving pretty much everywhere. So anyway, that's 2 minutes on. Alright gang, kind of stuck them on there. They're mostly stuck in, but not quite all the way. I don't know if you've ever had to take these arms off, but there's a little clip. Let's see. That little clip hooks in under the splined part on the transmission, and you gotta pull it that way to get it to release, which it's a pretty good system, and I do think there is in fact a tool for a windshield wiper getter offertude. I don't have one, and it just, you gotta get in there and hold your tongue just right and hope you get it and yank and pull and try not to break stuff, including the windshield. And I just, boy, I hate it. So if anybody knows what that tool is, bleep bloop it. Ugh, Derek. Anyway, write it in the comments, and you know, let us know what it's called, because they can't be that expensive if they're out there. And yeah, doing it with a screwdriver and vice grips and needle nose is just no fun at all. So I sprayed it with some Rain-X cleaner stuff. I guess we're gonna turn them on, see how it does. Everything's good. I'm gonna give it the old push down, and that clip will hook on, and then we're styling. The black doesn't look bad on an all, well, black minus the I mean, the truck looks terrible anyway. So, anyway, let's give it a whirl. See if they're clocked right. Alright, I think I can move them down a tooth or two. It's getting real high up here, but otherwise, I think we're good.